Welcome to the Elementor 101 course. In this course, I want to show you all the things you need to know in order to build beautiful websites using WordPress and the Elementor page builder. My name is Janos and I've been creating websites this way for years now, and I want to share a lot of my knowledge in this course to create a resource that helps you get started from the ground up, from having no clue whatsoever about websites to being able to confidently build your own websites, or even multiple websites if you're planning to go in that direction. Now please note that if you've watched my big Elementor 101 course already, this is the same content. It's just broken down into the different segments so that people that don't want to watch one huge hour-long piece of content can watch just the tiny parts that they want to watch. But nevertheless, you will find all of the parts of this course in the playlist that I've created for this, which means you can easily navigate through all the different parts, just like you could in the big course. Now, for those that haven't watched that course yet, I will be referencing all of the templates and additional resources in the description down below, so check that out if you're interested and if you want to learn more about like different resources that we're recommending. Also, there will be templates available because we'll create an entire website together, and you will be able to download all of these templates to use on your own site as well, all through the description. Alright, so first I want to cover some of the most basic concepts of websites and how websites work. So for those of you who know what hosting is and what domain name is, you can skip to a later part. But for those who don't, let me quickly explain to you how these different concepts work so that you better understand how your website works and why you would even need a domain name. Your domain name is like your address on the internet. It's something like google.com, for example, or janosworkspace.com is also a domain name. It's something you need in order for other people to actually find your content online. You need some kind of name, some kind of address, so that's why you need a domain name. Now there's different hosting providers for that, and I'll show you the one I like most later on, but let's first cover another concept, which is web hosting. Because for your website to be seen, or for your website to be on the internet, there needs to be some kind of server that actually hosts your website, like the images, the videos, the documents, the text that you want your website to contain, that is on all the time and that gives this back to any computer that wants to access it. The hosting provider you choose is essential to your website's success, because bad hosting providers result in slow loading times on your website. They might result in downtime, meaning your website might not be accessible sometimes, and other problems that can be caused by bad hosting. So I also recommend you the host that I've been trusting and using for several years now, and that I think is really well suited for beginners especially. And if you already feel overwhelmed by some of these technical terms, don't worry. It's really not that hard. I'll show you step by step how you can set up your hosting, how you can register your domain name. It's really simple, and I'm sure that all of you can do it. So yeah, there's nothing to worry about here. The last technical kind of layer that we have is WordPress and the Elementor page builder, which are the tools that we're using. And you can think of WordPress like the underlying framework or the system that helps your website run, so you don't have to do any of the technical stuff. It's a CMS, so a content management system, which means it takes all of the technical difficulties away from you and helps you to create things on the web without having to deal with like server stuff and so on. So it's what makes it possible in the first place to create websites that easily. And then lastly, on top of that, we have Elementor, which is the last thing that we want to talk about. Elementor makes it possible to have an additional layer on top of WordPress that makes the drag and drop building experience possible. So it allows you to design websites by simply dragging elements around, which would have previously been done by actually writing code, but now you can really do it only by moving blocks around and adjusting the settings. There's actually a great analogy that I really like, which is the analogy of the human body, and I think it describes how these things play together really well. So think of WordPress as like the skeleton and the organs of your body, right? What do? Well, they provide basic functionality to you. They help you to live, pretty much. And you might not know exactly what they're doing and how they're doing it, but it's a great basis for you to live off of, and you don't need to interfere with it. You can just leave it be, and it does things itself without needing your help. And then Elementor might be your clothes and your skin, things that are visible to the outside, and this is then customizable. So like in the case of your clothes, customizable using Elementor, and it can alter how you look to the outside, or in the case of your website, how your website will look on the outside, while the core WordPress is still the same.